Thank you, Carly Samuels, for that wonderful introduction. For a minute, as you spoke of this young man, I was wondering if I knew him. But then I heard you mention my name at the end and realized you were talking about me. So thank you for that wonderful introduction. You are a credit to this institution, and it is wonderful to be assembled with this host of wonderful students who are being rewarded and receiving awards today for their perseverance and their excellence in performance. Thank you again for that introduction. Thanks again, Chairman of the Board of Management, Mr. Norman Reed, and other members of the board, Principal Dr. Lorna Gow Morrison, Chaplain, the Reverend Godfrey Francis, and other members of the clergy, Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Norte Antoine, distinguished awardees, members of the Sam Sharpe alumni community, members of the academic, administrative, and ancillary staff, family, friends, and other invited guests. It is with gratitude and humility that I am before you today. I want to, first of all, honor my ancestors, my elders, my siblings, my friends, batchmates, Go class of 78, former instructors at Sam Sharpe Teachers College, and I'm specially mentioning Mr. Crick and Mr. Stewart. I also want to honor my parents because together they all kept me grounded and very confident. I also appreciate the support of special friends Earl, Patrick, Stedman, who over the years have been my groundation, my support, and my rock. To God be the glory. And we especially want to celebrate these our deserving students today. I want to start with a question about our emotions and what we're feeling today. And so I want you to, if I can get my screen to, I want you to look at these emotions that are being displayed and maybe think of which one best describe you joining this event today. And as you contemplate your own feeling, I want to say, please cherish this very special moment. Never again in the history of the world will there be this opportunity to be with all these people in one place, to meet in this fashion with these feelings. And so since this will never happen again, cherish this moment, cherish this feeling, and just think how blessed you all are for this once in a lifetime opportunity, be in the space and with these people. And again, I say, think of the emotions that you might be feeling. I graduated from this institution back many years ago, and I'm not sure what my emotions were then. Maybe you could take a look at this photo and tell me what you think I might have been feeling then. Maybe some of you could take a guess. But all photos aside, I'm honored and I'm blessed to be given this opportunity to try and have your attention for a few minutes. As I ruminate on this theme of your special event, the idea of your theme, excellence through perseverance. This is the story of many of the graduates of this very young institution. It was only 45 years ago, in 1975, that this little college on the hill started with a ragtag army of students and some dedicated faculty and staff. It was the year on January 3, 1975, the first woman ambassador, Carmen Paris, was appointed by Jamaica as ambassador to France. It was the year in March of 1975, Michael Jackson, along with other Jackson 5 members, performed at the National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica. They also visited Tivoli Gardens and were hosted by former Prime Minister Edward Seaga at a reception. Samuel Sharpe was hanged in Montego Bay in 1832, and in 1975, Sharpe was proclaimed a national hero of Jamaica, and the main square of the town was renamed in his honor and this college is also named after him. Over the years, the terms service, commitment, and excellence have been drilled in every batch of students that have passed through the gates of the college in Granville, to head up the hill, to learn what they can, and to can what they learn. They learn to take ideas back to their communities from whence they came. I want to start, bearing in mind your theme, with defining the terms to operationalize the discussion that I'll share with you today. So, according to the Oxford Advanced Learner's Dictionary, excellence is a noun, and it means, that I'm quoting here, the quality of being extremely good. Synonyms include excellent, outstanding, perfect, superb, marvelous, exceptional. Then the term perseverance, also a noun, means the quality of continuing to try to achieve a particular aim despite difficulties. Synonyms include persistence, determination, grit, resolution, diligence, doggedness, stubbornness. Perseverance is evidence that success was not a guarantee, nor did it come at first try or effort. I'm sure all of you have heard of the great Henry Ford. Before founding the extremely successful Ford Motor Company, well, he was previously bankrupt and left penniless 5 times from failed venture. One can therefore appreciate that persistence is one of the hallmarks of excellence that comes from perseverance. Let me mention, by way of passing, some people who persevered in their pursuit of excellence, a journey that is without end. You have all heard of Albert Einstein, and when we hear the name Einstein, we think genius. So Albert is now almost exclusively associated with genius. Young Albert was viewed as much of not such as a prospective scholar. His parents and teachers began to think he was mentally handicapped and socially awkward due to the fact that he did not begin to speak until age 4 or read until he was 7. Einstein was eventually expelled from school and denied entry to the most prestigious Zurich Polytechnic School. And the rest is history. We know that. Then there is Jimmy Adams, and no, not the cricketer. He opined that everything meaningful or good that we do in this life will be opposed by at least one of 3 sources. And I want you to follow me here. The first one, he says, is ourselves. And in Romans chapter 7, verses 15 through 19, the scripture speaks of fears and doubts, sensuality and rebellion and ignorance. Number 2, Jimmy Adams says, is others. So the first one is ourselves, the next one is others, and 3 is Satan, that the devil, the deceiver, the liar. 1 Peter 5 and 8 speaks of demonic influences, temptation, deception, seductions. Opposition, I should say, to success is self, others, and Satan. And so I encourage you never to allow any of these to stand in the way. But we have the promise and a reminder in James chapter 1 and verse 22 when it says, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast on the trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him." It is true that perseverance does not manifest itself in excellence. And this is how Maya Angelou describes it when she reminds us, and I'm quoting here, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so that you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it." End of quote. You here today who are being honored and rewarded have shown excellence through your perseverance. And the truth is, as stated by the famous football coach Lou Holtz, and I'm quoting here, you aren't going to find anybody that's going to be successful without making a sacrifice and without perseverance. All of you have attained success because you were willing to sacrifice and you refused to give up. Romans chapter 5 verses 3 through 5 says it beautifully. Not only that, but we rejoice in our suffering, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. We surely thank God for anointing all of you with the spirit of perseverance, and the result is your excellence in performance. One of the things I've been told is that perseverance can contribute to a long marriage. Oh, by the way, I should also maybe pause to suggest this to us, that if you're feeling me, since like you've been told to mute your mic, then like put some emoji in the chat. It's nice to know that I'm not just speaking to myself, but I'm speaking to people who are hearing and feeling me. So please feel free to let me know that you're feeling me, and it will encourage me to continue on. A reporter was doing a human interest story for a local newspaper and was interviewing an elderly couple celebrating 60 years of marriage. The obvious question the reporter posed was, what's the secret to a long marriage? Oh, the man stated, it's all about perseverance. On our honeymoon, we went to the Grand Canyon and rode on mules down the trail, where my new wife's mule bucked her off and she fell on the ground. She just yelled, "That's one," and got right back on the mule. A couple minutes later, the mule did it again. He bucked her off again and she fell to the ground, and she just yelled, "That too," and got back on the mule. When the mule did it a third time, she yelled, "That's three," took out a gun and shot the mule dead. The reporter was shocked at the story and asked, how did that relate to a long marriage? And the man replied, well, I told her that was no way to treat a mule. And she looked at me and said, "That's one." And so our marriage had held together because I do not want my wife to start counting to three. Let me talk a little about when I was a student at Sam Sharpe and you as a student at Sam Sharpe. My own experience is a way of making the point of congratulating all of you who are being honored with awards and reward for hard work, for dedication, and for demonstrating excellence through persistence. First, let me be declarative in stating that as a student at Sam Sharpe Teachers College, the words service, commitment, and excellence were drilled into me and all of us. But I was not the epitome of any of them. Yet it is so prescient that the founders chose those words. And you today are examples as highlighted in your program's theme, excellence through persistence. I never failed a class at the college, but I never got an A either. And I got some of the lowest grades that you could make and still pass a class. One thing I know is that I was persistent in getting my low but passing grades. You, on the other hand, you are the exact opposite end of the spectrum. You are excellent, you're outstanding, you're almost perfect, you're superb, marvelous, and exceptional. I want to share the story to make the point about the kind of perseverance that you have done and are doing. How many of you have heard the name Ray Kroc? If you have, just give me an indication in the screen by saying yes or no. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Not a lot of people have heard of him. How about McDonald's? I'm sure, yes. I can see that you have heard of McDonald's. Some of you go to the McDonald's downtown Montego Bay to join the long line to get a burger from time to time. This is a story of perseverance, a story that shows that you can succeed at any time in your life. Without Ray Kroc, McDonald's would have been a one-location burger chain in San Bernardino, California. And according to the Biz Insider, Kroc was the 50-year-old struggling milkshake machine salesman who lived a comfortable life, but he craved more. He met the brothers behind McDonald's and eventually convinced them of a franchise model to grow the brand. This led to a massive expansion, buying the land where all locations operate, and it has grown into the McDonald's we know today. So this is what McDonald's look like today. And they started in 1940 as a one-location burger chain. The burgers were originally 15 cents. They hire about 1 million workers each year in the US, not to talk about internationally, including Jamaica. McDonald's is a $27 billion in revenue company, making it the 90th largest economy in the world, all because of the persistence of a struggling milkshake machine salesman. My suggestion to you, dream big, shoot for the stars. God will never let you do less than he has promised that you will do. After leaving Sam Sharpe, I can say assuredly that the things that you have learned at the top of the hill in Granville will stay with you for life, as it has with me in the 39 years since I graduated from the college on the hill. Me and my many batchmates were taught an idea with the acronym POS-DC. And I know I have colleagues on this line today who, as soon as I say POS-DC, will remember that it stands for planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. We'll never forget. And I learned that 40 years ago. And it is still, as soon as somebody say POS-DC, if I'm in my sleep, I can just tell them it's planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling. And if I were to sound like the guy who used to tell us this, planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling. So I want to encourage you to ensure that the three words, service, commitment, and excellence, be the ideas and the ideals that you take with you wherever you go. And let the theme of today's event be your guiding principles for the vast expanse that is laid before you. Some of you in your first year, others up to the fifth for advice, advanced credit. I hope that you continue working to give your most excellent best and that you will persevere regardless of the and your circumstances. So I want to share 5 steps to use as a guide for continuing what you have started today. And so let me be clear. You are way ahead of where people like me were when we attended the institution. People like me were not inclined to be excellent. You have accomplished the high honors you are being recognized with today because you have persevered. So here is what I should also make clear, that the ideas that I'm sharing with you today are not my original ideas. I cannot take credit for them, but the application is certainly mine based on my lived experiences. These ideas are from one Joseph Campbell. And I want to say, I've found these ideas to have served me well. And so I share them with you as tools to be placed in your toolboxes that you can draw on in times when you start thinking beyond COVID, beyond 2020, beyond being a student at the college on the hill in your first or your final year. Remember, you came to Sam Sharpe Teachers College to receive an education. And the word education is derived from the Latin word educare, which means to bring up. They say the e means of and the duco means to lead. That is, to educate means to lead forth or to extract out the best in people. All that have been poured into you on this hill will be drawn out of you over and over again in the years to come, and you will lead forth because of your excellence. The 5 steps that I want to share with you about maintaining excellence through perseverance. The first step is to lock down your motivation. Lock down your motivations. Be clear what your motivations are and be locked into them. I decided I wanted to be a professor, and so I knew I had to get the best grades and be focused on my goal. Yes, I started late, but once I decided what I wanted to do, then I was locked into my motivation. You need a clear understanding and drive regarding your motivations. Lock into your motivation and focus like a laser beam. You will meet mountains, but you climb over or you go around. If you stop, it is only to rest. Only start measuring the mountain after you have reached the top. Let me say that again. Only start measuring the mountain after you have reached the top. The second step for maintaining excellence through perseverance is to establish role models for yourself. Identify the role models you want to emulate and study them and know about them, and if possible, meet them and share your interests. The third step is to understand your historical context. Understand your historical context. Antonio Burgess reminds us that it is always good to remember where you come from and to celebrate it. To remember where you come from is part of where you're going. Sometimes when you remember the support and the love that was poured into you, it is a great motivation to bear witness to a more excellent way. The Negro Spiritual says it well, no turning back, no turning back. I must continue forward on this excellent journey, and I'm willing to persevere and not give up. The friendships I cultivated at Sam Sharpe Teachers College will be with me for life. Keith, Peter, Maxwell, Grantley, partners for life. Being mindful of your historical context keep you grounded, and it is always a source of motivation. Remember, honor, cherish, and treasure those elders who shared their wisdom, who shared their love, and yes, who shared their money to help you along the way. Know and value your history. The fourth step is to maintain focus. Maintain your focus. Keep your eyes on the prize. There will be distractions and pitfalls, but as the song reminds us, I will rise again. Never lose your focus. Henry Kissinger, the former Secretary of State, said it this way: if you do not know where you're going, every road will lead nowhere. The fifth step to maintaining excellence through perseverance is to find a way forward. Paul was writing to his son in the gospel, and in 2 Timothy 4:7, it says, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. You must find a way through challenges because you will face them. Just as you have found a way to be at the top of the performance ladder here at Sam Sharpe Teachers College, you must find a way forward as you face the challenges ahead. Remember, this is the beginning, not the end. Even though my grades were not stellar while a student at the college, I was still motivated to find a way forward and to continue working to be what I wanted to become. Remember, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Put no limit on your ability and desire to finding a way forward. After all, you're more than conquerors, and you're special. And there are those who are looking to have their dreams fulfilled through you vicariously. And remember that God is not finished working on you yet. Seek and you will find the way forward. As you work on these steps, remember how important it is to collaborate, and especially to collaborate with members of the team. You know, I've found that two heads are always better than one, that no man is an island, and that no man stands alone. You must work with others like driver and navigator, writer and editor, P and pod. You must interface, affiliate, and confederate. Let me share a story maybe to drive home the point I'm trying to make. How many of you have heard of Jack Ma? Yeah, maybe not many. So if you haven't heard of Jack Ma, he is the richest man in Asia, worth about $39 billion. And he runs one of the largest companies in China called Alibaba. But he wasn't a genius who instantly created this amazing company. He faced rejection his entire life. He applied for 30 different jobs, including the police and KFC, and was rejected. In addition, he applied and got denied 10 different times from Harvard. But after discovering the internet in the mid-90s, he understood the possibilities that existed. He went on to create several companies despite all the rejection he had previously faced. So I say, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. If Jack could have listened to others, he would have accepted all the rejections and lived a life of mediocrity. Instead, he kept going, built an incredible business, and impacts millions of lives every single day. And by the way, he spoke at Harvard at commencement speech, the same school that rejected him 10 times. I want to thank you for your attention, and may the holidays, including Christmas, bring joy and happiness. My final idea to share with you about working is about working with others or collaboration. In the end, excellence through perseverance is a high calling, and you have done that. Congratulations, and may God continue to pour into you so that you can bring out the best that you're capable of. So I want to thank you for this opportunity to share with you. I leave you with this by Ryan Holiday. The extent of the struggle determines the extent of the growth. The obstacle is an advantage, not adversity. The enemy is any perception that prevents us from seeking this. Lock down your motivations, establish role models, understand your history, stay focused, and find a way forward. Thank you. Gracias, danke, mahalo, mercy. Thank you, thank you.
Dr. Bowie, you did not say the Jamaican version, man. I'll give you another opportunity to add the Jamaican version for the thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Boy, me thank you, sir. I hope that works. No, I should say, how the thank you.
Indeed. I have another question for you, and I hope I'm not being a troublemaker. I was curious to hear how you got the name Jim. Could you just throw that in for us, please? How did you get the name Jim?
Of course. You know that every Jamaican, no, that I shouldn't state that. Being a scientist, I should never say that. You know that a lot of Jamaicans have a nickname, a pet name that is not their name. So Jim is completely not related to any of my names, because my name is Sylvester George Bowie. I think when I was a child, somebody opined that I resemble some guy they call Uncle Jim. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. Nobody else is hearing. This is just between me and you. I am a carbon copy of my father. So the suggestion that I resembled that guy is without foundation. And by the way, I am told that Jamaica has the unenviable position or record for bogus paternity, but this was not one of the cases. I rest my case, but that's how I got the name Jim, you know, from this Uncle Jim. And all my friends call me Jim, so if you consider me a friend, Jim is always acceptable. I thank you very much. Howdy, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I thank you. As MC, as a young man, as an educator, I have to say personally and on behalf of everyone, thank you. Just listening to you, I had a formal thank you plan, but I'll show you something that I'm very proud of. I've taken notes. I have about 3 to 4 pages of notes here. And I hope that everyone who is joining us realize that as a teaching institution, we're big on taking notes. So my members of the audience, I have a question for you before I continue. So Dr. Bowie said to us that we should remember POSDC, POSDC. I want members of the audience to send in our chat, what is the meaning of the C in POSDC? He told us that we should engage in planning, organizing, staffing, directing. Thank you, Valicius Vassel. You responded quickly, and Covell Hall Golding as well. Controlling. I found your speech to represent the fact, sir, that you're a very grounded man. You're very passionate about what you do, right? You're historically and culturally aware, and I'm very thankful to have had this opportunity to listen to you speak here today. You echoed some of the key sentiments that I personally believe in, that we should cherish every moment. And within these moments are emotions that we should pay attention to. You also told us that perseverance is one of the required ingredients for excellence. And you reminded us of famous persons who themselves had to persevere to get to where they are. I will say that I found your analogy of marriage a little bit humorous and something for me to think about. But I thank you because the message was well received. I want to remind our audience of the 5 key things that you mentioned. I actually added them to the chat because I found them very important for my own progress and the progress of our students. 1, lock down your motivation. Lock down your motivation. 2, establish role models for yourself. 3, understand your historical context. And 4, maintain your focus. And the final one, number 5, was to find a way forward. And I think that message, that number 5, is most important, given the fact that we are in a pandemic where many of us have had to find a way forward. Sir, I thank you, thank you, thank you. You have been representing Sam Sharpe Teachers College well, and we respect you for your contribution today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.